Alright, so I walked over to the street I was looking for. It's called Shad Thames. It's right next to the Thames River. We're right next to the Tower Bridge, but it looked real cool in the pictures, so we're gonna go and check it out. But here we are. It's just a short walk away from the bridge, which is right there. And this is the street. And I thought it looks real cool. Wow, look at that in the pictures with all those bridges at the top connecting the buildings. And of course there's a Starbucks coffee on the corner. And here you can chillax and get a view of the river and the bridge. I think this is probably the best view and the place to get your picture taken in front of the Tower Bridge, right in this spot here. It is a beautiful view of the bridge. Hello everybody from the Starbucks next to the Tower Bridge in London. This is my first visit to an American chain in the UK. I was walking and I got tired, so I decided to come here and chillax and get a nice warm beverage on a cloudy day. I ended up getting the green tea, the Emperor's Cloud, and I had to get the Venti, the American-sized, largest size known to man. They try to offer me a regular, and I'm like, oh no, I would like the large one, the Venti. I'm gonna get some rest and then we'll check out the beautiful street with the bridges. Starbucks here looks pretty much the same as it does in the States. Way more people here get a ceramic mug and actually sit there and drink it instead of getting a paper cup and taking it to go. And also, instead of two large restrooms in the back, they just have one small one. Everything else is pretty much the same. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got some rest. I'm gonna take a walk down this beautiful street, Shad Thames. Apparently it's a corruption of St. James. I guess they weren't pronouncing it right, so I guess instead of St. James, it's Shad Thames. And that name stuck. But when I was looking stuff up in London and I saw pictures of this street, I figured I have to come here just because the bridges look beautiful. And apparently it is part of Bermondsey, and it's just south of the river on the riverbank and right next to the Tower Bridge. And we're walking away from the Tower Bridge towards this beautiful area right there. So Bermondsey, I think traditionally this was what Brits would call a working class neighborhood, industrial neighborhood. I think in the Middle Ages this place was known for its leather goods making. Apparently this was London's warehouse district from the 1870s until 1970s, and then it got redeveloped in the 1980s and 90s. And today, Bermondsey looks like a nice, cool, hip neighborhood known for its eclectic places to eat and drink, its art galleries, and Starbucks coffee next to Tower Bridge. We can access the water front here. Take a look at the River Thames from this angle. Maybe get a view of the bridge. I like looking at Tower Bridge from different angles. I've never seen it before. I think it's the most iconic landmark here in London. It's pretty windy. For some reason, being here, I feel like I'm in New Jersey. It's like you're here on this side of the river, and then you look across the river, and that's where you see the good stuff, across the water. And wait, did I just compare New Jersey to London? Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, if you're watching from New Jersey, I apologize. That's uncalled for. I know everybody in the States kind of makes fun of New Jersey for some reason. It's a running joke, so I didn't mean to do that. It's actually a pretty nice place. I spent a week there once. It's a nice place. The Garden State. Instead of backyards, they like gardens, kind of like England. Oh wait, sorry. Did I just compare New Jersey to England? I'm sorry again, New Jersey. My sincerest apologies. Wouldn't happen again. And if you're watching from New York, yeah, I didn't even say nothing about New York, you know? So why don't you get a cup of coffee and forget about it, tough guy. I'm not going to try to do a British accent. Oh, you're welcome. Here we are from the other side of those beautiful bridges connecting the buildings. The street I wanted to check out. Right there. And this angle is actually even more beautiful, I think, because of the sunlight from the other side. When I was at home, I was looking up stuff to do in London, and I saw this and I thought I have to come here and get a video or a picture of it. Beautiful place. You don't really get buildings or views like that. So to me it's special and beautiful. Well, now that we checked out this beautiful street, I think it's almost time for dinner. And we're in England, so I think it's time to get some fish and chips is what I think. And I found a place not too far from here. It's a 7-minute walk. And it's deeper into Bermondsey. So we'll check out this area. It looks like it used to be industrial, but now it looks like these industrial buildings are kind of turning into business and residential places instead, kind of like a lot of cities around the world. It is it's a pretty central area, close to the Tower Bridge and everything. And it does have a different vibe. There's definitely not as many people on the streets, which I like. It's not as crowded as the two bridges, or maybe that's just the tourist part. This seems a little bit out of the tourist zone, actually, even though we're only a 5-minute walk from the bridge or so, or 10 minutes maybe. Looks pretty cool. Chinese restaurant. This is their parking garage for a brick building. So we're almost at the fish and chips place I looked up, and we're deeper into Bermondsey, and this is what it looks like. And I'm liking the feel of this. It doesn't feel as crowded or touristy as the other places. It is not as fancy, and it just looks more like a regular neighborhood where people would live. It looks like a lot of people on bicycle, maybe returning from work or something like that. I guess that's a good way to get around London. You get exercise, and you're everything is not too far. If you work in central London, and here I think we're only a few miles away, so there's a bike lane, dedicated bike lane here next to me, and that way you don't have to deal with traffic or getting on a crowded tube. So this kind of has a little bit of a Brooklyn feel to it. I like it though. And I see the fish and chips place there. And this is what it looks like. It's not lunchtime, so we missed the lunchtime offers. But we'll probably end up, oh, they got chicken and chips. But I'm gonna try to get fish and chips. Get my cod and chips. I got the large.
I just have the
looks like this. Oh, I got my cod and chips. I got the large size, and I think it might be a little too big. Instead of medium, they had medium and large, but I'll try it. a view. So yeah, it seems like a common thing here is they charge you for a ketchup packet, and I got a tartar sauce that's like 20p, which is like 30 cents each or 25 cents each or something. So there's no free condiments here. You see a lot of people just kind of sitting around the parks and eating food that they got takeaway. So instead of to go, they say takeaway. That's the British version of to go. So I just got to be careful with this bike lane because people are riding by really fast. I'm not used to that. Yeah, I love these streets. This neighborhood definitely has a different feel than Kensington and the west side. I guess this is the Southwark area or Bermondsey. So we're south of the river, and I think I'm gonna sit here and enjoy my meal. I thought I had to do it since I'm in the UK. You gotta have the fish and chips. There's a sign there, Bermondsey Gallery. It seems like more of a local neighborhood. A little bit of artsy. It's cool that we checked it out. I'm glad not all of London is as crowded as the central London areas. This part south of the river seems a little quieter and more neighborhoody, and just kind of more down to earth, not as fancy and just more regular. I'm thinking about where to go next, and actually I was looking, there's a bus that goes across the river into the east part of London. I haven't been there yet, and I'm thinking this is kind of east but south of the river, and instead of walking, the bus stop is right here, so I can just hop on a bus and maybe take a look at east part of London. So that's what the local streets look like. Borough of Southwark. Street signs here are on the side of the building like that, just like in other European cities in the US. Street signs are usually on a post that's usually located at an intersection somewhere. This part of London is definitely easier to spend time in. It's not as stressful as central London. The streets here are way wider and there's fewer people. So you don't feel as claustrophobic as in central London. And the sidewalks are wide here, so if you have to stop and check your phone, people have room to walk around you. You usually can't just stop in the middle of those narrow central London sidewalks because there's people walking behind you, so you have to find a place to move over to the side. I'm glad I ate my fish and chips at that park over there. Got a little nice view of the neighborhood. So I was able to get the front row seat, double-decker bus on the top deck. Going to East London. So it looks like the last stop is Shoreditch, which is 11 stops. And that is in East London, Shoreditch High Street. So we might just go there, check it out. Streets are also different here. They're not in a grid-like pattern that you'll find in American cities. Of course, American cities are master plan design cities, and London and European cities are too old to be master plan design cities. I think London just came up from a collection of towns and villages that later got united to become what London is today. So some streets are in a semicircle, some are straight, so they go in different directions. We're on bus 47. Just south of the river. When I was getting my fish and chips, I asked him for some ranch dressing, and he looked lost. And a few places here I've asked for ranch dressing, and they don't seem to know what I'm talking about. So I don't think they have ranch dressing here at all. And in U.S., for example, if you get buffalo wings, I don't know if they even eat buffalo wings here, but those get served with ranch dressing. It's pretty much a criminal offense to serve buffalo wings without ranch dressing in the U.S. It's kind of like having tea with no milk. If I got fish and chips in the U.S., I would get ranch dressing to dip the chips into. It's really good. And here, when I've asked for ranch. They try to give me mayonnaise. I'm not putting mayo on the chips. I think that might be a European thing to put mayonnaise on things like fries and chips, but I use ketchup instead since they don't have ranch. I don't really like mayo on fries or chips. And we drove by a movie theater and they call it a cinema. Sometimes I've noticed more commonly European or British names and phrases do make their way into American shores. Like there's a movie theater at Universal that got remodeled, and after the remodel, they put a sign that says Universal Cinemas instead of movie theater. So I'm not sure why they did that. Maybe it was just a marketing ploy to make it seem different. So I wonder if we're going to have more cinemas now instead of movie theaters. I guess it's kind of like saying a film instead of a movie. Now you can watch a film at a cinema, maybe made by an auteur instead of a filmmaker. I've actually noticed in LA some European-derived restaurants started to use the phrase takeaway instead of takeout or to go. And then later, actually, some regular type restaurants started to use the phrase takeaway. They even put it on their menu, takeaway. So I wonder if it's starting to filter down and maybe we're starting to use more European-derived phrases like that. I'm not sure if it works the same in reverse, but you do hear some more American-derived phrases just being spoken here. So London is actually a pretty big city divided into 6 transport zones, but in visiting here as a tourist and checking out the sites, you only really need to focus on Zone 1 and maybe Zone 2 if you're feeling adventurous. And it's a pretty small area, it's easy to get around, and the scenery changes so fast that it gives you the illusion of traveling a much longer distance just because everything is so close and the neighborhoods are so different even though they're very close together. We are at Liverpool Station. Italy restaurant, there's one of those in LA. Looks like there's a tube station for Liverpool as well. I like the Southwark Bermondsey area. It felt more chill and comfortable, except for the very fast riding bicycle riders. You definitely notice a change when you cross over the river here. So the buildings here look newer and it looks fancier, nicer, and it's definitely more crowded here than on the other side of the river. So I believe this is Spitalfields, which is east end of London now. So when I was looking it up, it's historically considered east end of London, and Shoreditch is too, but it seems like some people would consider this to be almost part of central London now. So I'm not sure how fluid those boundaries are. Maybe they're not really set in stone. But I'll just go with the historic definition of this being the east end of London, plus the bus line terminates here. And I'm not going any further east.